every job has certain things that you won't like. If I don't do it, somebody else is doing. Employees join an organization, okay, but do not leave the organization, leave their bosses.
मुझे लगता है सबसे बड़ा प्रेशर होता है भरोसे का.
Loyalty is not dead. Loyalty factor is reduced because the companies themselves have become short term. Whether you pass from Harvard, or whether you pass from IIM, or whether you pass from tier 2B school, right? Your attitude is very crucial. AI is an enabler. Use it as an enabler to become a good marketing professional. You need a grounding in sales. All of us in a career have to make choices in different stages of a life. If you have fun when you're young, you'll work hard when you're old. According to me, DE is another form of quota. As an HR professional, do I like asking people to leave?
Welcome to the House of Equentis, where we don't just talk finance, we decode it. I'm your host Alok Arya, and in this episode, we're not talking to a fund manager or an economist. We're going straight to the source of an organization's most valuable asset. It's people. Today, we're diving into the mind of a veteran who has mastered the game of compounding, not just in the markets, but people. Our special guest, Mr. Chandrasekhar Mukherjee, has seen it all. From the fast-paced trading flows of the National Stock Exchange to the quiet wisdom of national-level athlete. He understands that every successful company and every successful portfolio is built on the same principles of long-term vision, consistency, and compounding. Get ready, because we are now about to show you how a great career, a great life, are simply a great investment strategy in disguise. Let's get this started. All right, sir. सो NSE के ट्रेडिंग फ्लोर पे आपने पेशेंस और टाइमिंग दोनों देखा है. आज की वर्कफोर्स को हर चीज़ इंस्टेंटली चाहिए. प्रमोशन, आईफोन और दैट बाली ट्रिप. आपको लगता है ये इम्पेशेंस डेंजरस है या एस्पिरेशनल?
No, impatience is not dangerous. It is aspirational. But I would, give a caveat that patience is important for the long run. It's like you can't play T20 always.
Mm-hmm.
And your career is not T20. And if you want to build a career, it's test match. And you have to know when to play T20, when to play 50 overs and then play a test match. So I would say that. So it's good to be impatient, but use it in the positive way.
But sir, what we have seen, and when I meet candidates, I often observe this, that when people appear for an interview for an organization, they rarely would have that long-term vision that, okay, in 5 years, hence, I would want to make this impact. And very few of them actually ask this question that, okay, where are you wanting to take this organization in the 5 years? Everyone's in a hurry to either get into the role or maybe jump to the next. Have you seen the same like 15 years back?
No, it's been same always. There's been no difference actually. But it all depends on how you mentor the person. Mentoring is very important. I will not forget something that my boss told me, that, in the beginning of your career, you're supposed to see what you add to your CV. The first, if you break your career in a span of 10 years each, the first 10 years you add to your CV value. Okay, then money doesn't count at that point of time. The next 10 years is you then consolidate and start earning because of the experience that you've gone. And the last 10 years you mint money. So that's how you have to play. You need to choose the role, you need to choose the companies, you need to like I keep saying when I'm hiring somebody, knowledge, skill and attitude. Okay. Knowledge is from the college that you've passed. Okay, after a point that becomes, it's equal. It equalizes across everybody. Whether you pass from Harvard, or whether you pass from IIM, or whether you pass from tier 2B school, right? The skill you acquire from the companies that you worked for. And your attitude is very crucial, which people don't, So you need to mentor the person, and the individual has to understand that. Once he understands Kids are very smart. Kids are very smart. And the only thing is you have to make them understand that they have to do that. I've seen that even at home with my kids, or I've seen with other youngsters. Once they understand, they're good. Because
So it's just that phase wherein you need to maybe condition them or make them understand
that's it.
where you're coming from, and then they're aligned.
Yeah, they're aligned. Absolutely. If you once they understand and look at the big, see, for everything, when people say, "Well, look at the big picture." What's my big picture? So when you watch the cricket matches happening today, same Mr. Gavaskar or everybody will say, you should go and play the 4-day matches to be a good T20 player.
Absolutely.
So the question is, once they understand, they're all going to understand this and do it. It's just like when you're playing a sport. If you play a stroke well, learn to play a stroke well, you may take time to learn the stroke, but once you learn it, chance of success is more. But if you play a stroke wrongly, you may win a match today, 1 match, 2 match, but then you're going to fail.
No, absolutely. And I'm just able to relate. I was listening to another podcast, and Sachin Tendulkar was talking about how he used to perfect his shots. And he was speaking to young people. And I just loved what he said. He said that during our times, while if you think that one of my cover drive shots was incredible, there's a lot that went behind it. So he was saying कि मैं जब किसी मैच को देखता था, अगर उसमें say the great Vivian Richard did bat in a particular way, then he said I would watch it on repeat at least 70-80 times so that gets imprinted in my head, and then when I go on the floor to play, it's just flawless.
Absolutely.
But when you see it from the outside, it looks so easy.
That's right.
But I think there's a lot that goes behind it. I think today's generation, like you rightly said, if they're aligned to the big picture, if you can motivate them, if you can inspire them, and by not being preachy, of course, if you can get them on board and excited, I think they can really do wonders.
Yeah, the only difference between couple of years back or when we started and then now is there was more time on hand, so you had people who could mentor you. Today we hear the word mentoring quite a bit, but you have mentors where they don't have time or they don't want to do it, or whichever way I'm just saying is. So that should be one of the key indicators for any person to become a people manager, how good he coaches and mentors his juniors. His next promotion should depend on that. Then only you'll have that's how you build a culture in the organization.
Absolutely. Great. Sir, young professionals often see their careers as a series of short-term projects. Loyalty at times is old school to them, and job hopping is the new cool, right? As a HR veteran, is loyalty dead or is it just redefined? What's your view on that?
No, loyalty is not dead. And I would be blunt in saying the reason the loyalty factor is reduced because the companies themselves have become short-term. They're looking at bottom line and top line. Yesteryears, if you look at people, they stayed in an organization because the organization treated you that way also. So an employee knows if the company is not doing well, I lose my job tomorrow morning. So he or she is looking at also, timing it right when I can exit an organization or looking at whatever. That's the reason why you can't blame an employee looking at the top line and bottom line to understand whether the company is doing well. So hence loyalty is there. Loyalty will come only if you give the right environment, give them the right projects, give them the right exposure, right? That's why people say employees join an organization, okay, but do not leave the organization, leave their bosses most of the times. Right? So you have to create that environment, give them the right projects, mentor them properly, and they will stay. And when I say the right environment, when somebody asks me, okay, when I, even as a CHRO, when I joined any organization, when they ask me, how long would you stay? I say, it depends on how you take care of me. And when I say take care of me, is not monetarily. That's a separate aspect. Is when I have a problem, if the company stands beside me, I will always stay in the organization.
So it's more about not treating the employees as just mere resources.
As a commodity.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll use the word. There are tech companies which are using employees as commodity are going to having a problem.
At the end of the day, we have to realize that we're dealing with human beings.
That's right.
We call human resources as a department, right?
Absolutely,
So at times, हमें लगता है कि वो human part रह जाता है, सिर्फ resources रह जाते हैं.
absolutely. So,
That's a great insight, sir. But employees being loyal is one thing. I think today it's the organizations that in a way are trying to be loyal to the employees. I'll give you an example. One of the greatest companies that I worked for during my initial days was Tata Group, right? I used to work for an organization that was assumed to be a white elephant walking on a thin rope. Anybody could throw a stone, even the slightest of, I would not say a mistake, but अगर कुछ छोटी सी भी कमी होती थी तो लोग बहुत आसानी से बोल देते थे कि टाटा ग्रुप है तो दे विल मैनेज एंड people used to be very conscious, but they always tried not to overtly, I would say, make the employees happy, but like you said, the base was covered. The base was covered so well that none of the employee could say that Tatas could do wrong. I mean, that's the, I would say, mind space that Tatas as a group has occupied. That in India still people say कि अच्छा Tata Group company है तो ठीक है. So it's like a blind trust बोल लीजिए या incredible heritage, incredible I would say return to the society that they have given. Do you think today companies are doing so, or is just about making more money and, like you said, using employees as resources?
no, so what's happening is Tata is a great example. I'll give another example where I worked for Colgate-Palmolive. Before meeting, I was speaking to your colleagues, were saying the same thing. Now, these organizations, whatever they do, okay, when you build a culture, the organization, you need to have the processes to support the culture. So they had processes to support the culture. Right? Now, what happens is if an organization does, or a boss does things not from here, he does it from, not from his heart, but speaks from his mouth, it's not going to work. You have to feel it. You have to walk the talk. You don't, it's not a tick box. If you do an activity, मैंने engagement activity का tick box हो गया. And last moment में आ गया, I'm celebrating birthday, ठीक है, hello, happy birthday कर दिया. It doesn't happen. You have to celebrate it in a manner actually you
feel it.
You feel it. How many bosses today take time out if an employee is unwell to call and inquire, आप कैसे हैं, how is it? And if you become senior, you think the secretary can call and नहीं. It is you who are supposed to call.
Absolutely.
So if you're in Colgate, and it will be the same in Tata's, I'm sure. If anything happened to the employee, okay, the first person who has to be rushed to the hospital is the HOD, whether he is meeting or no meeting. If the Mancom meeting is happening also, he'll just walk out, he'll say, my guy is in the hospital, I need to be there. He speaks to the family, he takes care of everything, I'm just saying all that stuff. If there's a wedding in his team, he needs to be there.
100%. I think the clear takeaway from what you're saying, and I firmly believe, is that heart share is way bigger than mind share. I mean, while organizations can speak, people managers can speak a lot, but ultimately, if you don't work from the left top of your body, you're essentially not doing justice, or not nurturing the relationship well. So, sir, moving to the next question. Most people view HR as solely responsible for hiring and firing, right? All the dirty work to be done by HR. From your perspective, how much does this underestimate the true role of HR?
No, that is just not the role of HR. It's one small part of the role. And the latter part is very difficult. But the most important role of HR is being the bridge between the employer and the employee. You're the bridge between the employee and the employee. My role as HR head, wherever I was, my job is to go and speak to the employer what is the perspective of the organization, and go back and give feedback to the organization what the employees think and what they expect. And I have to do it very truthfully, honestly, unbiased. And that's how you develop trust in HR. HR's role, like I was saying, is one of the factors which was there. So if we worked late, my team had to be in office on time, because that's the time when employees will come and ask questions, have to solve their problems, or come and give you feedback. So HR's role is, people keep saying AI will, HR, no way. Where's touch and feel? You have to have touch and feel. आपका touch and feel कहाँ रहे? And HR is the bridge, and it's a role. It's a huge role to bridge the gap. It's a huge role to so the way I look at it, finance takes care of the financial aspects of the company. HR's role is to keep the value systems, the culture of the organization. I'm the custodian of the value of the organization. The values that are written in everybody's websites, I'm the custodian of that. Like money, finance is the custodian of money. So I have to play a neutral role. And if I cannot play the neutral, that's where HR is looked down upon then.
I'll pick it up from what you just said. The value system and the culture, they are essentially the custodian. Sir, one thing we have observed today, and I'm sure it's happening across organizations, is that culture or the value system is the belief of the organization, right? Which is in a way structured for the organization to grow ahead. But these days, do you think the generation that we are dealing with today, they believe that some things are their right? I'll give you there could be a lot of flack for this. This generation believes that certain things like working from home is a right. So if working from home is not there, the culture is bad. If flexible timing is not there, the culture is bad. If you're being asked your numbers regularly, the culture is bad. It's over demanding. Do you think this was the same? Because as far as I remember, maybe 10 years back or 15 years back when I began my journey, I don't think it was all about working from home or my right at the organization. It was first about, like you said, building yourself the first 5, 7, 10 years, and then looking at essentially how is the organization taking very well care of you so that it becomes a win-win.
No, so my perspective is I will speak in the way in HR language. If you have set the right KRAs and KPIs, most of the things will fall in place. So as a boss, if my KRA is this work has to be done in this timeline, whether you come at 2 o'clock, come at 20 o'clock or 10, 20 o'clock, or come on a Saturday, Sunday, I'm least bothered about. Flexi time or no flexi time, I'm least bothered about. But yes, you have to make a person realize it. And the way I do it, I'll explain to you. I explain to my people, if you've chosen a profession of being a cop, an IPS officer, okay, and you've chosen to marry an IPS officer, either which way, okay, then forget that you're going to celebrate festivals at home. Because the cop is there protecting the entire city. Hence, all of us common men are celebrating festival. So he's not going to get a holiday on a festival. The same way as an HR professional, if I want to be an HR professional, I cannot get holiday in March and April. Because if I take holiday, where is the letters going to be rolled out? The increment, promotional, blah, 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 all that stuff. So when he or she knows it, everybody will fall in place, line. Na? And then I will lead by example also. Okay. Now, let me give an example. I always, because I've lived in town always, my thought process was my kids and family should stay in a good place. And I could, if I stay far away, I could, used to staying in a bigger place. I wanted a bigger place, blah, blah, blah. But I always beat the traffic, reached office at 8 o'clock. Okay. And my rule of the game was I leave office at 5 o'clock or 9:30 in the night. But nobody in my office came early because I came early. And nobody stayed back late because I had a meeting and stayed back late. Unless the concerned person, late was if I had a meeting with the shareholders and I needed somebody, that's it, nothing else. And there's a saying which all of us know and which the great pundits have spoken of. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. If you don't have the right culture, no strategy can work. So I would, So the question is, if you give the employees trust, you have faith, and give them all the tools and tell them this is what I want, this is what this is the football field, and you play within it. They all play. I've never seen anybody. It's the other way around. Actually, when I've left organization, I see people coming to office late. So, like I said, I spoke to you earlier. I would say the same thing. If an employee knows that I'll take care of him or her during a hour of need, she's not going to come and ask me, "Can मेरे को flexi timing चाहिए, मेरे को work from home चाहिए." Because she knows, he or she will know कि जब है तो मिलेगा. And that is again uniform, and you have to be very uniform when you deal with people. And you be blunt to say, I've given this person this because this is the reason, and nothing else. People come and criticize, why have you given him? Why have you not given me? Why have you given? No, this is the reason I'm given. This is what it is. And the rules are same. No, in school, when we were in school, if you're a good student, didn't do homework one day, you were never punished. Okay, but if you're a bad student and one of those rogues in class, for any stupid thing, the teacher would punish you. The same thing in office, man. And you tell everybody, yaar, this rules are the same. अगर आप अच्छे हैं, you will get scot free if there's one small mistake. But अगर आप,
Sir, you mentioned trust, right? But do you think that there is a big difference in saying that, okay, I trust you, versus the other person feels that you really, really trust him or her? So it's like going out and saying that, hey, listen, we trust our employees, whereas the employees should feel that I am a trusted one.
So, again, it's the same thing. You either, if you speak from the heart, not from the mouth, okay? And trust, employees see trust or trust the company. It's not only being fair, but seen as being fair. Seen as being fair. Now, I'll give an example. And this example I learned when I was in Colgate because I was taking a tough decision because it's common. On camera I would not tell you the organization name, but it's a big cola company. So there was an employee in a plant, okay, who did a wrong. His finance head told him to do something unethical. He did it. Okay. At home, he went back at home in the evening. At night, he couldn't sleep. The first thing next morning, he came and told the plant manager, this is what I did. It was wrong. I shouldn't have done. Now, so that was a multinational. So they had rules, regulations. It had to go up till everybody. So everybody in the organization wanted the finance head to be sacked for sure. That's ethical, unethical. So jana hi jana hai. But they wanted to save this guy, bichara aake bola. Now, let me tell you what the MD of the organization said. He said, this guy, the finance head, sacked as simple as that. No references and everything. But this guy also has to leave. But I will give a good reference. I will get him a replacement job because everybody else has to see in the organization that you can't buckle under pressure. That's how you build culture.
Brilliant. That's lovely, sir. Sir, I think I just want to add to that the pressure thing. When you said that this was done so that the other guys don't feel that it was buckling under pressure. But मुझे लगता है कि ये pressure as a word, as a term, or stress, or being overworked, or I would say toxic, all of this today is used all together. So we don't usually differentiate between stress or pressure or good stress or that self-respect or that ego that we should attach our work with. But what I have felt is that pressure sales का नहीं होता, pressure expectations का नहीं होता. मुझे लगता है सबसे बड़ा pressure होता है भरोसे का, trust का. If the person whom you are working with, if he or she trusts you with the heart, like you said, and you really feel it, then you have that pressure. Then you feel कि वो मेरे पे भरोसा करता है या करती है, और I can't do that wrong thing, or I will do my 200% best.
Absolutely. I will add to this the other way, also the way organized go and stress. So what we don't realize, although we do it mechanically, okay, we realize, but we do it mechanically. That's the issue with me. That we do ref check of employees. but today employees just reflect of the organization and the bosses they work for. Okay, so what my style would be, and I would recommend that for most of the people, is when an employee came and wanted to join an organization. Okay, and by God's grace, most of the times I worked for the number one. Even when my first 10 years of service, I worked for the government. All went the best, the most coveted organizations also. So I will tell the employee who's joined me, I said, you should do a ref check about me also. And you know why I did that? I would do that. It is not only the employee should have trust in me, the employee's family members also should have trust in me.
Wow.
Because even if a man or a lady is working with me, for example, during appraisal time, 12 in the midnight, 2 in the night, or we've had a strike somewhere, the family member should know Chandra है, मेरे बंदे घर पहुंच जाएंगे. कुछ नहीं होगा तो चंद्रा तो अपनी गाड़ी से पहुंचा ही देगा.
Beautiful.
So that's where the trust comes. There are two trusts. One is trusting the organization, trusting the boss, the leader. If either breaks, it breaks.
It works both ways.
It works both ways.
Yeah.
If the organization is great and there's one functionary who's nasty, it doesn't work. You can hold on to the employee because you are a Colgate or a Tata or a Bennett or a NSE, but you can't hold on to the employee for long. Because he's very intelligent. वो अपने CV में ठप्पा लेता रहेगा क्योंकि मैं I'm working for a cream de la cream, and once that's through, he'll say, "Chal, I will now jump." So you can't retain. So hence all that, if you do it genuinely, if you do genuinely a great place to work initiative, all that stuff, then you'll come to know the feedback also.
All right, sir. Coming on to a hot topic these days, there's a lot of anxiety around AI, that it will eat a lot of jobs and people's, I would say, jobs would become redundant. What's your view there? Is AI to take away people's job, or is it to, in a way, augment and help them increase their productivity?
For employees who are educated, who are professionally qualified, I don't think they should need to bother. What AI is going to do is the regular, mundane, repetitive tasks AI will take over. Okay, but it cannot take over jobs with analytics, reasoning, touch and feel, which employees have to do with, people have to do. Okay, already people have started speaking about which people are saying AI does a lot of coding, right? But people have started asking questions and saying is, they feel in the next 2 to 3 years, when there's an issue, then if an AI is coded for you, push the code. Now with a bug, what are you going to do? Human being has solved the bug, no? And every human being writes a code based on certain his, her, or her style. How are you going to debug it? So it's not that easy. So I feel AI is an enabler. Use it as an enabler. Use it as something like we use in HR, psychometric tests.
Indicator.
It's an indicator, an enabler. It's hierarchy if people use it as rejection tool. You use use a psychometric test. For that, you have to be specialized and in competency-based interviewing methods, because that's an input for that. Because then you ask questions. Because language skills are the weakest for most of the people, and especially the techies. So if a word may mean A to you, B to me. So you're comprehending it differently. The same way, AI is going to be an enabler. I don't think it'll create jobs also. It'll create jobs of different aspect. It's something which, when my dad was, young, I think 12, if you passed 12th standard, you were great. Then it became, if you become graduate, you became great. Then if you become professionally qualified, you become great. Now only becoming engineer, a graduate engineer doesn't make difference. Either you have a master's or have an MBA. So it's you just you need to value add to your competencies and it will work. So it's an enabler, and there is going to be a lot of things. I just hope people, and then use it very carefully. My concern coming from a background of strong compliance, people have to be careful with it.
It will go haywire.
It will go haywire. And with the new DPDP law, it's going to be dangerous.
Yeah.
It's
Plus, also, do you think that the human part, I mean, no one can replace, or no machine or technology? I mean, I'm sure AI would never dream big, right? AI would never lose sleep, like you said, on something that is wrong, right? Compliance part, I mean, it'll just give you an output basis, whatever is available. So, in a way, you have to have, I'll not say human intelligence, but at least that empathy, that emotion working behind every task, so that you can look at it radically in a balanced way, rather than just looking at anything as an output.
No, you have to look at it in a balanced way, and you look at it even more critically.
Yeah.
Because you're not doing it.
Yeah. Exactly.
If you were doing it, you've done it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You followed all the process.
Yeah.
So whether the AI has followed all the process and all the compliance, you have to be very careful.
Yeah.
Especially fintech companies, any company dealing with it, it's huge.
Yeah.
I'll give an example. A couple of months back, my daughter just came back from US and she was saying, I asked her, what are you working on? I said, that's war that happened. These guys crashed into the medical data system of US. So now they're working on a system how to protect it. So I'm saying, with all the AI, with everything, but still it
could be attacked. Yeah. So do you think that careers today is more like long-term investments like we recommend to our clients? Or do you think that times have changed and I would say the talent pool should look at each and every job critically and they can possibly shift frequently?
So again, there's a saying, Rolling Stones don't gather moss.
Rolling Stones
don't gather moss.
Don't gather moss. Brilliant.
Right? So if you shift too many jobs, again, it's different stages of career. You have to be very clear about what you're doing. So you add value to your CV in the first 10 years, then you have to stabilize. And in Indian environment, post 50, you have to be very careful how you're shifting jobs. Okay, it's not like Western world where, you can be an HR head at my age also. There are people 60 plus, but India, you cannot. So the question, it is something that is a person has to look at his career, how he's adding value and making the right choices. And sometimes you make wrong choices. And especially I would be very protective over the ladies. They have to be very, very careful while choosing their organization. Because that's something that whatever all of us say, we have all the posh act in place, things are not very comfortable. And you have to realize that, understand that. And all of us in a career have to make choices in different stages of a life where we forget. That's the mistake that we create. If I'm a lady and if I want to get married and I want to have a family, I make choices. Then I slow down. The same thing as a man also, I may have to slow down because family, parents, older parents at home, things of that sort. So you make choices. But once you make choices, don't feel bad about it. So when, again, I used to tell any employee who came to me and he'll say, I want this, whichever way it is. I said, remember, if you're making that choice, think of what you want. Because if a kid, for example, if you want to become a professor, okay, teaching is a passion, but will that give you money?
Maybe not. Yeah.
Most likely not, right? So if you're passionate about sportsmen, you're taking that much more risk. The amount you invest in becoming a good player, if you invest that much in studies, you'll obviously make it somewhere decently good. But sports, you can still never make it. So it's the same thing. So choices that you make, I always say there are very few people who are lucky. Very few people are lucky who have chosen a profession, okay, which they enjoy and make money also.
Yeah.
Sachin Tendulkar or Amitabh Bachchan. Okay. Then you got some other people. Again, I very openly give their example and I tell my kids also. And that's the example which is more practical is Mr. Prasoon Joshi, who had a passion for
advertising.
advertising, poetry, media. He didn't become a Kavi when he was in Uttarakhand, but he did his MBA and went to an agencies, big. But now he makes, which he earns quite a bit of money. I know the numbers wouldn't want to quote, but he earns 10 times more through movies now. He does both. So you have to make your choices in life. That's important.
And then don't feel bad about it.
Don't feel bad about it. Once you've made a choice, you've chosen to do it, and you want to, whatever you choose.
Isme, sir, I think a lot bigger role is played by the upbringing that we come from in the Indian cultural context, right? I mean, if you see how we have grown up as children, right? When I remember my days when I used to play basketball, I played nationals, and one day I'm standing with my father and telling him that, listen, I want to learn basketball. First thing that I hear is that India mein ek basketball player ka naam batao. Of course, I didn't know. My aspiration was Kobe Bryant. And then he's like, that's exactly the reason that why you shouldn't do it. Because the same cliched line that हजारों लाखों लोग player बनना चाहते हैं लेकिन सचिन तेंदुलकर एक ही बनता है. And I think the same story I've heard when we joined hands to build Equentis, right? When you tell someone or someone says कि मुझे stock market में invest करना है, the first thing that people say कि नहीं, बर्बाद हो जाएगा तू. So that narrative or that context setting from the very beginning is very important. And I think unfortunately, at least majority of the children today are told that, okay, this is a line for you or this is a stream for you, rather than them having to discover, like you said, their passions. I mean, not everyone gets to be a Prasoon Joshi or Sachin Tendulkar. What would be your advice to young folks who are still discovering themselves? How should they maybe look at making a career as bright as yours from Palmolive to, Times and then NSE?
See, the way I'll put it again, it's because today, yesteryears, still people were multifaceted. Today, kids have become unidimensional. And again, one of my theory is to be successful in your profession also. As a professional, you have to be multidimensional, multifaceted. And I'll tell you why. If you are multidimensional, you become more successful. Very few people who are successful are unidimensional. Because where do you de-stress? You may have sports, music, go for, Zumba classes, or even if you meditate or, do a religious activity, you have to be multifaceted. And in schools, if you remember in yesteryears, you had to be multifaceted. You had to play games. You had to play sports, right? You never became a college captain if you were not multifaceted. Just because you stood first in class, you never become a college captain. House captain कोई chance ही नहीं था.
True.
Right? So that culture has to come in. Even in office, you just look at people who are multifaceted versus a unidimensional person. A multifaceted person takes more risks, is more a team man, a team woman, whatever it is. And you see them differently. So how you can get that is very critical. It's also your entire environment, education system, you have to be rough and tough. All that, I'm one who believes that in school today, kids are, treated with a lot of kid love. That's not the way you do it. Because I keep saying when I go to colleges, campuses, even the IM campus, I said, son or daughter, if you come and join even Colgate-Palmolive, you're going to be ragged. IIM के हो सकते हैं आप, लेकिन आपको फोटोकॉपी मशीन में जाके फोटोकॉपी निकालना पड़ेगा.
True.
And can I give an example? I give them the example of sports. Look at cricket. That's a very good example I give. If you're a cricketer, if you're a Sachin, Saurav, Sehwag, whatever, the first thing when you enter the team, you don't play. The first thing you do is you're a 12th man. What do? You pick up
water bottles,
your seniors' shoes, kit, sab kuch. And once you get into the team, where do you field? Third man. Square leg. और मार खाने के लिए forward short leg, backward short leg में. Only if you are very good like a Dravid, you'll as a kid you'll start standing in slips. भाई कोई slips में जब गवास्कर हो जाते हैं तब जाके slips में खड़े होने को मिलता है अगर आपके वो है. So I keep saying is you can't do, it's from जूता सिलाई to चंडी पाठ. You can't do चंडी पाठ straight. जूता सिलाई पहले तो करना पड़ेगा ना. So how you train, how you coach your person, again when the couple of first questions you asked me is that only. You talking Tata's has the best induction.
Yeah.
I'm sure you would have heard of Rusi Modi's stories in Tisco.
Yeah.
But if you have seen my CV, I've also worked for steel plants. So I worked on Malvika. So a lot of people from Tisco had come over there. They used to tell me stories of what used to happen in Jamshedpur. In those days, he treated people that way. I'll give 2 examples about him, which we were told in another way. So one of the workers, from his cabin, he could see, one worker, was raining heavily and completely drenched, going. So he called the person, gave him an umbrella, कहता घर जाके change करके आइए. So that's the second is he had they used to have those management trainees, and you had people as EAs sitting with the big bosses there. So he came to know there's in his room on a weekend that something had happened. He just called those kids and say, "Son, I hope you're smart enough not to dirty my carpet." How you treat, how you do things is most important. And HR or whether it's investing like you guys do it, it's everything has a process and a method and the madness.
Great. Sir, we were talking about when you go to hire, fresh MBA graduates, you were referring that how you've seen that everybody wants to do marketing and nobody wants to go to sales. What's your take on that, and how would you recommend this to young MBA aspirants who start their career? What should they do and why?
I would strongly recommend that they should go through the grind. So they should do sales, they should do customer research, and then marketing. To become a good marketing professional, you need a grounding in sales. If you do not understand what is sales, you don't understand what the product is, what are the issues at the ground, you cannot create the marketing strategy. You cannot create all the pitches that you have to work on. Or the advertising strategy. You just cannot do that. So it is very critical. And you learn a lot. You learn about the product, you learn about the territories, you learn about the human behavior, you understand why it's being sold. So how will a person understand what's the difference of selling in a Western region versus East? East is the most difficult place to sell any product, and West is the easiest place to sell any product.
Interesting.
Any product that you look at. Okay. And all markets have different nuances that you have. So how would you learn it? You have to learn only when you're there. So it's important. And in addition to that, I'll also say within sales, you need to have job rotation.
That's the typical, I would say, progression in any big FMCG, right?
Absolutely.
You join as a management trainee, then you do sales as an area sales manager, then you become a territory sales manager, then you essentially climb up to be in the marketing space.
Yes, it's like for our IITIM, it's slightly earlier. You do two-year stint, which is the area sales manager, and then you get into marketing. 2 years stint is there, but then that 2 years you're rotated between various areas. It's almost 6 to 9 months, and at least you cover 2 regions. One difficult, one the easier ones, which is slightly more easier to sell. So, if you look at it, the best of the sales guys have been who have actually sold in East. So that's a very difficult territory for any product to sell.
Yeah. Great. Sir, coming to a topic which is in a way talked about a lot in these days. A lot of employees at different stages in their career, may feel, dissatisfied about certain things, and then they want to maybe change jobs or move jobs. But that point in time, the retention team gets activated, right? Not during that course of when there is certain dissatisfaction, sort of, I would say, sedimenting in the employee's head. And then ultimately it boils down to, in a way, trying to do everything to retain the employee. And in mostly cases, it is monetary. Do you think money is the retention strategy, or is it something more to it?
No. Again, if you want to build a culture in the organization, never retain because of money, and never give a counter offer when a person has resigned. That breeds a very bad negative culture within the organization. Because everybody thinks I'll put in my paper and get it. So no. So especially the HR needs to have his ears very close to the ground, hear everything, understand everything, have a culture of openness, and people can come and speak openly to people, and especially as a sounding board. So hence that's important. And doing regular, culture surveys, finding out what's happening where, being very neutral, like I said earlier. And it's important to set right if there are issues which are coming in. And issues could be simple, very small issues. Like, for example, if you have given a facility to an employee and that facility is not run properly and you're not taking that feedback, and that comes to you. I'm giving an example. And that could be very important. For example, in a place like Bombay, coming to office, going back to office is a struggle. I'm giving an example. And I've seen for flimsy reason people who leave because, I have an office nearby. But all that stems from the fact is that person is dissatisfied somewhere, he's taking, this as a exit route. So what is the core? What are the issues? How you can do things? See, and also like a lot of, communication is very important. Two-way communication, actually genuine two-way communication, making them realize what it is. Okay, a person may think मेरे को पैसा फलाने जगह मेरे को पैसा ज़्यादा मिलेगा. Okay, but फलाने जगह जब पैसा, I'll give an example here. That's an example. I'll turn it around and tell it. Do I pay the highest money to the salary to my drivers that I had? No. But when he'll come and tell me, फलाना दे रहा, I said, देख भाई, you're working with me, हाँ? उसके पास ज़्यादा सैलरी इसलिए पता है क्यों देता है? क्योंकि वो साहब को तुम उल्टा सीधा जगह ले जाते हो तो मेम साहब को झूठ बोलना पड़ता है आपको. ठीक है, उसके लिए आपको तनख्वाह मिल रहा है, या वो कुछ गलत काम कर रहा है, वो छुपाता है, वो आपको मिलता है. So I don't do that. Or you're going to be happy with me. Same thing in office, how you deal with employees, how you treat them, how you listen to the small stuff, or he or she's been into some problem. Simple thing, you have a policy. I'm just saying, now most of the companies done it. You have a medical policy in place, right? Now everything cannot be covered in that. So then you take a top-up policy so that you can take care of those employees who actually need those thing. So medical has become very important now. So that could be a differentiator factor, how you put medical in place. And do that well. And it doesn't cost you money for having a top-up. So you may have a limit of 5 lakhs rupees. I'll give an example. But if somebody has a bypass, 5 lakhs is nothing.
True.
So then you have top-up from the company, then you give it. And then you do it. But never differentiate in certain things. That's why organizations make. Medical never differentiate. A junior most to the senior most is the same. Whether a junior most guy has a bypass and a MD has a bypass, the same thing, na?
True. Very true. These are some great insights, sir. I think very, very helpful.
So hence, employee won't, he or she will not. There would be some genuine reasons you can't stop it. Okay. And then don't break your head over. I'll give, there are genuine reasons. Somebody needs more money because there are issues at home for whatever reasons. All of us could have that. But he's going for money only. He or she would know that. But then have a policy in how you can get that person back also.
True. So true. So talking about your illustrious journey across categories, across businesses, you've also been a national level table tennis player. Would you want to share some learnings as to what role did sports play in making sure this journey is much more beautiful for you?
I give a lot of credit to sports, for especially my profession that I'm in. Okay, no MBA can teach you, has taught me either what sports has taught me. Sports teaches you, if you're a good sportsman and play at a high level, that teaches you to lead and to be led. And MBA doesn't teach you to be led. Every sportsman goes from being a 12th man, a normal player, a special player, a very good player, a captain, then back a normal player. And it's very difficult to become a captain to back to a normal player and play under somebody. And all of us in corporates, we preach, no, you have to be a leader and a follower.
True.
As a functional head, you cannot be. So, because why? Even if you become a functional head, are you jack of all? Okay? Or master of one? Normally, you're jack of all. You're a generalist when you're a leader. And you're a master in some core areas. So, there are places that you're a master, so you have to be a follower now. You will have a specialist in your team, no?
Yeah.
I understand comp and ben. I may not be a master on comp and ben. So if my comp and ben expert comes and tells me how to, give him that value and the thing. So that's how it is. So sports has taught me this, and it's been very easy to mingle in teams, manage teams, with my bosses, understand. You don't have to become a Fauji to understand boss ne bola, the principle, boss is right. If not, refer back to that. You understand that because that's a team. When the decision has been taken, you follow. So that's one thing that sports has taught me. Sports has taught me to appreciate successes of everybody. Has taught me to be part of the team.
Right.
Even if I'm playing individual game, but that's also team now. I have to. There's a masseur who's there who's taking care of me. There's a dietitian who's taking care of me. There's a trainer taking care. Everybody has to take care of me, and I have to take care of them and play with them.
True.
And there are times when my coach will admonish me and tell me, I need to change. I'm not doing this right or not right. So then you learn those things. You are trained. You become more disciplined in life. Sports teaches you to become disciplined. Sports also teaches you to take defeats.
Yeah.
Which in normal, and it's very important to today's generation, because today's generation just sees success. There is going to be defeat. Life is all ups and downs. So you learn to take it, learn to absorb it. And that's how part of life. It's not going to be the same. I'm just saying and how you take it is very important. And for me, not because, of course, I'm from Allahabad, so hence also the thing. The best example for us is living legend, Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. He takes life. Today, even he writes at 82, although he's fit, he said, I need a guardrail. I should be careful how I pick up things, how I do things. So that's it. And you have to adjust to that.
Acknowledge that. And what sports teaches you today, because of sports, I'm very satisfied. So for me, all the frills of somebody opening the door for me, having 10 people coming asking me things happening. But I've seen that once I've left playing table tennis, with the new stars, are they going to come and ask me? When I go back, when people know me, they'll say, nice. Chandra bhaiya the, acha khelte the. But they're going to ask the youngsters, it's your day is over. True.
So you learn many things of that. That makes you tough, rough, different, acclimatized to different environments, stresses. You know how to handle stress also there. And sports, if you know sports, you know to de-stress also. I'll tell it very jokingly, but this is what it is. So I tell everybody. So on a weekend, I always play squash. Okay. I don't play table tennis because I need a good partner. I'm finicky about table tennis because that was my game. I play squash. So if I'm angry with my boss, so I hit the ball hard on the wall. Or they boss ka naam pe. So boss ko jo, he's given me something, I de-stress on the squash court. So I have got an avenue, no. Instead of going de-stressing or releasing stress on my wife and my kid over, at that point. So sports allows you to do that.
Lovely. Sir, if assets in corporate or in workplace are our employees, right? What, as per you, is the definition of asset appreciation?
See, for me, asset appreciation is where the employee who's come in, okay, I make him successful, not only monetarily, but as a human being, as a professional, everything. So if I can enhance his skill, I can improve his attitude, okay, and enhance his knowledge and enhance the experience that he's got. So experience that he gets also is a very important critical. So for me, that is asset appreciation. Today he was at A, and he's after 10 years he's at X, Y, whatever. That's what it is. That's how you appreciate the asset, and that comes in form of the growth of the person within the organization. Okay, and let me tell you, even for a person who's doing a mundane job, okay, for him also there is it's not only promotion, but how do I improve him by giving him new skills, new knowledge, new improvements, how he does work better, okay, how he can face the world better, making more knowledge in various aspects, okay, outside the work also. So everything together. It's a very holistic thing.
If you were to give or bust the top 3 myths when it comes to building an illustrious professional journey in the corporates, what would those myths be?
I'll be controversial. First myth is DEI.
DAI.
DEI.
DEI.
Diversity. So why I say that? Because I believe in meritocracy. Once you do everything based on merit, you don't need DEI. According to me, DEI is another form of quota. Example, let me give you. Whether it's Times of India, whether it's Colgate, whether NSE. Okay. And NSE is the best, one of the best examples because we had 32% as women employees in NSE. Just being hire based on merit, promote based on merit. Why do I need DEI? Why should I have a quota? If I had a DEI and I would have said, the board would have said, no, only 10% women. Then?
True.
When I've thought 32%.
Wow. Purely based on merit.
Purely based on merit. Based on merit, based on fairness, based on transparency. Absolutely.
Great. So that's one. Other 2.
The other 2, the other myth is that I grow if I get promoted. Actually, you don't grow as we are promoted, because promotion in today's day and age, according to me, is promotion is the actual promotion when you do higher job grade.
Not a designation change.
Not a designation change. It's a big myth. When your designation changes, it's a myth. It's not promotion. It's a fancy designation that I'm getting now. For example, if I'm a vice president and I go and tell a general manager railways that in front of him, nothing, obviously.
True.
A bank takes you as assistant vice president from an IM, but you're a fresher.
Entry level. Yeah.
Entry level. So that's a huge myth. Designation. Whenever I see a lot of youngsters falling for designation, that's a myth. See, what job grade am I doing? Within the hierarchy, where am I? Where am I pegged?
True. That's so true.
So that's the second myth that people have, which is, again, and when they fall for the myth, that's their thing. The third myth is, very honestly, is how do I put it? This is a job I like. Because every job has certain things that you won't like. Not everything in my job I like. As an HR professional, do I like asking people to leave? I hate it, but I do it. And I do it very well. In an organization, I was given a task of asking 1,000 people to leave in 1 month. I did it. Or I closed down plants in places.
That's a tough one.
Very tough. And can you imagine, I closed the plant because we had to plan 1 year in advance. because of some certain laws.
Hmm.
And those workers will come and show me, साहब मैंने ये फ्रिज खरीदा, साहब मेरा शादी होने वाला है, and I know मैं the count clock is ticking, next 6 months is shutting, 1 month is shutting, 15 days is shutting. But मैं क्या करूँगा? I don't like it. So it's a myth that the job that I do, I love. Yes, I love most part of, not everything. You will be the luckiest person who likes 100% of his or her jobs. I would have loved if I became a professional player and paid me shitload of money. But didn't give me, can't. That's why I switched. So all of us, see, that's a myth because all of us have to make compromises in life. Like we had a chat, I bought an SUV, but I would have loved to buy the best SUV because I love cars. But can I? No. Because my surname is not Tata, Birla, Ambani. Surname is Mukherjee. Money is that much. So
Interesting. So, sir, if your career was an investment portfolio, what was the biggest high risk, high reward bet that you have made?
the biggest high risk, high reward that I made was leaving Colgate-Palmolive.
Leaving Colgate-Palmolive. Why is that?
Because that was a cream de la cream organization, fabulous in every aspect. And then leaving such an organization, would I have made it? But by God's grace, I made it. So I took the risk to jump out, leave from my comfort zone, and especially it matched my value systems to the T. And I knew that was going to be difficult. I knew the world wasn't. So that was one big risk I had taken at a pretty young age. That held me in good stead. So that helped me. So that's
lovely. You were just referring to how you, in one setup, you were asked, to ask around 1,000 people to leave. In a professional setup, when you are responsible to impact thousands of lives, at one go or at one decision that's made, how do you manage all that anxiety around it, or that, I would say, maybe at times it could be guilt also that, how could I do this to someone? How do you manage all that emotions running in your head?
So the first thing, I do it, I think it's selfishly. If I don't do it, somebody else is doing. Would do it. So I might as well do it. Number one. Number two, when I'm driving back, Siddhivinayak सामने भगवान जी को sorry बोल देता हूँ. Third, I do it as fairly I can do it. I do it as compassionately as I can do it. And I, by God's grace, trained to manage and maintain the self-respect of the person I'm dealing with. And finally, I'm helpful to the T. Post that whatever help they need, the only separations that I am very ruthless is on ethics and code of conduct. Rest, anything that happens because of business, because of whatever reason, other reasons that are there, when you have to do it very compassionately.
Right.
Okay. I don't want to name the companies. For example, without naming the company, I'll say that company is based in San Jose, for example. Okay. Big company, fabulous facilities they gave. When the tech company that reduced people, they did it not the appropriate way. You have to do it very appropriately, very compassionately, very dignified manner. You need to, the most important thing, maintain the self-respect of the person who's sitting in front, who is going through that process. A lot of respect, a lot of compassion, and it works out. And the gift that I got, I'll like to say this very proudly. I'd asked a person to leave when I worked in company A. Okay. When I went and joined, I'll tell the company. I was on Time 70, I asked a person to leave. I went and joined NSE. So the annual day function at Grand Maratha. So one of the employees introduced me to a husband who I asked to leave. And that guy says, this guy asked me to leave, but he's a great guy. You've got a great HR guy with you. That was my gift.
Sir, any piece of recommendations how to manage the, I would say, emotions when it comes to spending more than you could do, especially for the young hires that you would have done? This generation today talks about the newest iPhone, talks about Bali trips on the go, but they fear investments. We did a research and we, observed that they are scared of investments, but they're not scared of EMIs. Any suggestions from your journey so far so that people could look at this and take some well-informed decisions for their financial futures to be good?
Actually, I always, think and feel that they should be smarter than all of us who have been there. But I guess, yes, because of the craze for, wanting to look good in front of others. Okay, it's more fashion statement to look good. But I guess it's how we again, coach them, mentor them. They know things that, if I have, is again cutting your cloth according to your means. Everybody has to do it in that way. And that also has to do a lot to do with upbringing also. I'm just saying how you brought up and what's your value systems.
True.
If your value systems are there, okay. Again, how you coach them, okay. And it's the same thing that there are two things that I tell when I have, when the fresher joins us. I say three things rather. The first thing that I say is, if you have fun when you're young, you'll work hard when you're old. If you work hard when you're young, you'll have fun when you're old. Okay. The second thing I say, tell them, don't think that you've joined an organization. Now you are free to do anything. It's just like when we were at home, our parents would tell us when we went to school, Mukherjee खानदान के लड़के हो, नाक नीचा नहीं होना चाहिए. When we were in school, teachers say, Lovedale ka ho, Hyderabad Public School ka, don't do something. You are from this school, you can't do this. Right? And then in between, we felt we were dudes when we were in colleges where teachers or professors didn't tell us. But when you come to and join an organization, you again are responsible. Then I give an example. I said, if I become the society, chairman of the society of my building, and if I do something wrong, what will be the headline in the paper? And which page will it be?
Interesting.
So they'll say, no. I said, see, because I work for NSE or Colgate, they will not say Chandrasekhar Mukherjee. They'll say
NSE did.
CHRO of NSE behind bars. The same thing. I tell them, please spend your money judiciously. Save for the rainy day. Okay? If you save now, you'll have a ball when you're old. Otherwise, if you spend, अभी उड़ा दोगे बुढ़ापे में. And at least I tell them, till my generation also, we looked after our parents, but your kids are not going to look after you. The next generation, that's not the style. I'm just saying, you have to be fit. So same thing. And so also tell them you have to stay fit. To enjoy life further, you have to stay fit because you can't. So it's very important to drive that culture, drive that process. And then again, in organization, you can build those instruments.
100%.
NPS is there, make them PF 12%, push them to do things. Okay. So there are things which you can, I'm just saying as a tool, as a thing, and then have sessions where people come and can talk of, because obviously there's a difference between savings and investment. Saving is passive. You need to invest for the future. So
I so agree. I mean, I was reading a couple of days back, on Twitter, it was trending Rakesh Jhunjhunwala's quote. It said that just few days before, he went to a better place, he said that the biggest investment advice that I would want to give all investors out there is to first take care of your health, right? That's like $1 million advice. And because you can't change the future when it's already there, you can't change the future in the future, but you can act on it right now. So we usually tend to overlook our health or our well-being, be it physical, be it mental, and then prioritize maybe other things like money or lifestyle. And then later we realize that it was all in vain, because once we are there and in the middle of a chronic disease or maybe something not great happening with our bodies, then we realize the importance that how could we have been investing right in ourselves first, and then look after it in a better manner.
Absolutely. And the other thing that I'll say is, if you want, I believe you should live life, appropriately, nicely, enjoy life. But then you have to cut somewhere. If you do something, you have to cut somewhere else.
True.
So if you want to buy an iPhone, go ahead and buy. That's what makes your life better.
Then balance it.
Balance it somewhere else. I'm just saying, as you balance, you have to. It's all choices that you have to make, and there will be a time where you can do more. Okay.
True.
And never copy something to do something somebody else. So nahi ho sakta. Today, if I look at simple example again, consciously we took a decision that my wife, although she was better than me in studies, did much more, blah blah blah. Conscious that somebody would take a job which is slightly slower and will take care. Well, the kids will then grow, and thankfully that's worked for us. So she took a teaching assignment, right? And she could have done much better than me for sure. But I've got friends who are both husband wife earning well, both husband wife. So obviously, when I go to their house on a weekend, they can every weekend take me to a 5-star hotel. But can I? No, because one is earning well, the other is supporting. So I don't compete. I can't compete with them. I will not compete with them. So that's the choice that I've done. So as I told in the beginning, I have to be happy with the choices I make. You can buy an iPhone, but then see what you would cut somewhere else.
Oh, that's a brilliant takeaway, that once you make your choice, you have to be happy with it. And there's no looking back or comparison, or because I think somewhere once we get into that comparison mode, we actually break the momentum.
Absolutely.
Right? We tend to maybe overthink it, or maybe think of circumstances that could never exist, and hence it's an endless loop. So I think that's pretty insightful. Coming to my favorite section of the conversation, sir. I mean, we would want to end this fun conversation with I would say, better rapid fire round. So we would want your honest, candid responses to some of our small questions, right? So here comes the first one. What's the most overhyped concept in the corporate world today?
Like I said in the beginning, DI is the most overhyped concept according to me.
The biggest investing mistake people make in their journeys?
The biggest investing mistakes that they make is they invest based on somebody else's tips, not factoring into what is your risk-taking appetite or what suits your style. So I've seen that so many of friends or people while working in NSE, मेरे को बता दो क्या कौन सा है यार, किसमें डालूं? नहीं होता. I have to, nobody else knows my risk-taking appetite.
Your personal investment style in 3 words.
My personal investment style is, I analyze. Okay. I take calculated risks, and I'm strategic.
One piece of advice you would give to 25-year-old yourself?
Be patient.
The most important trait of a leader and an investor?
The most important trait of a leader is a person who gives credit for all the good things that happen in his function, and takes the blame for all that doesn't happen appropriately.
If you were not an HR leader, what would you have been?
I've been a sportsman.
Oh, lovely. Great, sir. Thank you so much. I think it was amazing to speak to you and pick these beautiful nuggets from your journey. And I'm sure our viewers will really enjoy listening to you and learn from your experiences to make their lives better.
Thank you for having me over. Thanks, Aftan.
Investments in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.